Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're going to have a great show today, as usual. Sorry, we're getting off to a little bit of a late start. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio, cklu.ca. If you are on streaming online, you just click on the Radio Player Canada app, and you click on the Radio Player Canada app and just stream away. If you want to download that same Radio Player Canada app, you can do so and take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. It's that simple. As I try to sign into X, there's just error after error, and I wanted to get CKLU's Pledge Week story up that we shared on our Twitter feed. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm going to get it on Google anyways, and we'll get it for you. We'll just get it in all the details. If you've been listening the last couple of days, you know that CKLU is having its Pledge Week this week. So make sure to do whatever you can to support support the station, because it is your community station. It's been on air since 1984. And here you go. We got it right there. So I was able to find it even though we had a technical difficulty, which we have a lot of technical things happen on the show. We're also, speaking of technical things, on Facebook Live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. You can stream us live. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow on the social media platforms that we are live on, but also on X, which we can't get into right now for some strange reason, and Instagram, and also visit us at Sudbury.news, which is our local news aggregator, and you can find the shows on demand on all of those platforms after the show, but live are on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure to comment if you're on YouTube or Facebook, because I'll do my best to read them. For those listening on CKLU, either streaming online or on the radio. And if I can't have enough time, which happens a lot of times, to read all the comments, because we actually have to go and cover the news and talk about different things, then I will make sure to get them up on the screen. Now, I've noticed the last couple of days, something's going on with our YouTube and Facebook, mainly Facebook, where it's not being put out to as many people. Like, we usually have about 300 views right at the end of the show, and it's down to like 89. We usually have about 25 likes or 30 likes. It's down to like 15. And we haven't done anything different. And I know that there's things going on behind the scenes that other hosts of shows have talked about, that particular thing going on. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was going too well or something. I have no idea. But it is what it is. I've noticed it. And so if you're not getting notifications that we're live, you're not getting notifications. It is what it is. We continue the show. We're here just doing a show because we want to contribute to our community, and we're going to do it regardless of whether Facebook promotes it or not, or what, or whoever's got their fingers in things. It really doesn't matter. We just continue the show, and we continue being positive, continue trying to make sense of the community we live in, the region, the country, and the world that we live in as well. And we're just going to keep doing it as long as I feel, we're getting to the point, which we will talk about a little bit later, where there's laws being enacted where it could be against the law to actually have a conversation like this, openly, in public, whether it's on social media or on the radio or streaming. Language is being legislated in our province and in our country, Many people have tried to stop it before it happened, and it's almost impossible to stop it after it's happened. But it is what it is. It's the world we live in, and we got to make the best of it. So as long as it's legal to speak and have a show, we will do so. And I'm grateful to be able to do that. Volunteer, and volunteer host on a volunteer show on a volunteer run station in a small community in Northern Ontario, Canada. So if you're joining us outside of the country or outside of our area, welcome. We're happy to have you. We notice a lot of people on from different countries, whether you're from Sudbury, you're just checking in to see how things are going, or you're planning on moving here because there's a very aggressive immigration policy that our community and our country has. And you're looking at this as to see, a possibility of getting some information about the community you're going to be moving to. Welcome. We're glad to have you on. So without further ado, let's dive right in. We're going to have a little bit of weather, sports update, some local headlines, a deep dive into what the carbon tax is these days, and do we need it? Is it doing anything for us? How much is it going to cost? There's a debate at least going on about that, and we'll have more on that and more, including your comments, when we come back right after this. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. And Sudbury Weather, as usual, is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. You can go sudburyweather.ca. It lands on our sudbury.news website, where it aggregates weather, sports, and news into one convenient location for you. It's currently minus 9 degrees, feels like minus 16. Today, we can expect, let's find that here. Alrighty then. Okay, there we are. Today we expect a chance of flurries ending this morning, then mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries. The wind will be gusting to 40 kilometers per hour, high of minus 6, wind chill near minus 16. Tonight, mainly cloudy, northwest winds, 30 kilometers, becoming light late this evening, low of minus 18, wind chill minus 16 in the evening, and minus 25 overnight. So overnight, going to be very, very cold. Minus 25 is your wind chill. So that'll feel like one of the coldest days of the year. Really, we've only got to minus 30 or so, a little bit, a couple of days out of the winter. So it's going to feel very cold. And then Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud. It was forecast to be totally sunny a couple of days ago. Not anymore, but a mix of sun and cloud. Wind will be moderate, high of minus 6. The wind chill will be minus 27 in the morning and then minus 12 in the afternoon. So still a bit nippy. Again, your high is 6 tomorrow with a mix of sun and cloud, high of minus 7 with a mix of sun and cloud on Friday, March the 22nd. And then Saturday, cloudy with minus 3 is your high and then sunny. We'll see if it continues to stay that way in the forecast on Sunday, but so far it's saying sunny on Sunday, minus 4 is your high. Monday, minus 3, mix of sun and cloud, and then Tuesday, chance of flurries or rain. High of plus 2, 60% chance of precipitation on that particular day, which is Tuesday. Look at your satellite here. A lot of clouds. That's pretty much the story here. You can see some of the clearing coming in from the west, but other than that, it's very cloudy. Anyways, that is your weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with a little sports update and news headlines and more right after this. Yeah, and your Sudbury Wolves will be in action to this week, Friday, facing the Barrie Colts at the Sudbury Arena. And you can get your tickets now at greatersudbury.ca/tickets. And then they hit the road in Niagara on Saturday. And then on Sunday in Oshawa, facing the Generals. They lost last time in Sudbury last Friday, 8-6. So rematch. There are only 3 games remaining in the regular season. Then it's playoffs. So we'll hear who they're going to face in the playoffs, when it starts. Pretty exciting. We hope all the best for our Sudbury Wolves going forward. Sudbury 5 will also be playing in Sudbury. Just waiting for the page to load up, against the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans on Saturday. Then on Sunday against the Windsor Express. Tip-off at 7 p.m. this Saturday, and then Sunday, 2 p.m., so afternoon game. We'll have more on that and those games in the following couple days, in the next couple days for you. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Stay tuned. Alrighty then. A couple of you joining on this morning. Like I said, something is happening in terms of, usually by now we have about 24 people on, and it goes up about to the 30s, but right now we're 12 strong on Facebook. I know we have people joining us from YouTube as well. I know 2 comments at least coming in this morning from YouTube. So anyways, it is what it is. We move on, and we're happy to be here and doing the show. Maurice, good morning, with a smiley sunshine emoji. Judy, good morning. Thanks for being with us. And Marianne, good morning, all the way from Chili Berry. Liked and shared as usual, Marianne. Thank you so much. Miles says, good morning. The Facebook page not bringing the show up on my end. So there you go. So that confirms it right there, that something is going on. A lot of people were saying over time that it wasn't giving notifications that we're live, and not sure why, especially people that watch it all the time. And you would think it, with the AI algorithm, it knows what shows you watch, and it would continue to kind of show you when a show is live. But it's not, and we don't care. So, Marianne, they are changing the algorithms. Yeah, well, I can see what it's doing to ours anyways. So thanks, Facebook. We appreciate you for all you do, and we actually do. We appreciate the platform anyways. Whether or not the algorithm is slowing down the amount of people watching the show, it really doesn't matter. Well, it does in a way. We really get better to get the conversation out to more people and have more people involved in the conversation. But it is what it is. I cannot control that. So, Denise, good morning. Blessings from Espanola. Debbie, good morning. A sunshine smiley face emoji. And also, Marianne says a few platforms. Follow a few platforms and never get notifications. That's interesting, yes. Notifications were a great idea. I get notifications very few times, few and far between. Like someone says, oh, I'm live, Oh, and I'll actually click on it for a while just to see what they're talking about. So these notifications telling us that people are live do work. They know that. And so why they're not allowing it anymore, or not doing it, or certain people get it and certain people don't, we're not sure the reasons why. We can speculate, but that's all it is. Liette, good morning from Collingwood. Thanks for joining us this morning. Denise, they're going to hit the bank's credit score system soon, which is going to tie into media. Okay, I think people have been sharing a few things about that with me lately. A lot of things being shared, and I need to have the time to be able to look at everything. I haven't, but yeah. So social credit score, if you're not aware, it's what China has introduced. So everything is surveyed. So cameras everywhere, more cameras than anywhere in the world. Everyone is recognized by facial recognition. And when you do a good deed, you get credits. So, the monetary system, like money, it doesn't have to exist anymore. And it kind of almost doesn't anyways. And most people don't even use cash anymore, which is kind of sad. So you basically have ones and zeros in your bank accounts anyways. It's just digits. So they're just kind of making the leap into a score where you can, you help someone across the street or whatever, the camera recognizes it. Oh, you did a good deed. You get a couple extra points. It's like PC points or Petro-Canada points or whatever, but it's a social credit score. You're a good boy today, or a good whatever gender you're identifying with that day, and you get extra points. And Yeah. Or you did something someone thought wasn't a good thing, mainly the government, and you don't get points. You actually get them taken away. So that's coming to a theater near us very soon. A lot of people are going to applaud it, saying, good, everyone's being forced to be good people the way we think good means. And then there you go. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan myself. That's my opinion. And I like to be just good on my own. I don't need to be forced to be good. It's just the way it is. Okay, Marianne, hopefully you're not getting too much snow for the first day of spring. LOL. Go figure. Hardly any snow all winter, but yucky weather. First day of spring, all in the name of climate change. Possibly. We'll get into that a little bit later today. This whole idea of climate change. So Denise says the carbon tax, Canada, 40 million people, and then we ship called to China hundreds of millions of people. There's a problem. Can you see it? Okay. Again, I think there's in the translation of the text, not able to. Okay, so I'll try and translate that. So we, a country of only 40 million people, are taxed with a climate tax, and then billions of people in other countries, no tax whatsoever. Meanwhile, they are building, I heard, let's get the number again. Is it 3 new coal-fired plants per week? Something like that in China per week. 3 new plants. You know, like they can build a hospital in 7 days. Well, they're building coal plants. 3 per week. That's the latest numbers. Coal, you know, that really, dirty, burning, carbon emitting fuel source. China's making 3 plants per week. And what are we doing? What are we talking about? What are we saying? Like, what's going on here with our government? We're not aware of these things? We'll have a little deep dive into that a little bit later. Evelyn, good morning. Haven't been on because I'm very busy at the camp, right on getting ready for spring and summer, I would think. But thanks for being on, Evelyn. We really appreciate that. And good morning, Sudbury campers. Is Brian Poulain joining us. Denise, I'm blocked from sharing to groups. We should always share. Interesting. So you're blocked from sharing to groups. Okay. Well, that's, again, another way to prevent other people from, being reminded the show's on, obviously. So not sure what's going on there, right? Pretty sure half of what I share gets blocked. That's Marianne. Liette says, yeah, no notifications and not bringing the show up either. So, okay. Facebook, I guess, doesn't want to promote this show like the way they would just naturally promote any other kind of podcast. Not sure why, but that's fine. I mean, anyone can do what they want. And Linda, good morning from River Valley. Thanks for being on, Linda. Denise, also, we do a lot of praying, a lot of flying flags, but we don't go to town halls, and things are at the end of the rope now. Haven't really accomplished much of anything, have we? Now, this is the thing. I came across, thanks to, I believe it was Liette who shared a video with me, a lady from British Columbia, talking about the actual laws of Canada and how we're maritime law, and it actually gets into the way pirates used to do business and stuff like that, and that's the way our laws are set up. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. I was already familiar with the maritime law and the fact that our economy is set up with maritime lingo, like liquid assets and currency, like water, everything related to water. Anyways, so really cool video there. So we'll have more, and that led us into deputations that are going on all around the country in municipalities where people are kind of in front of city councils showing how we've signed on to these UN agendas and things like that, which people haven't voted for, and city councils have kind of been manipulated into just going along with everything. And the deputations are to get out of these UN agreements in all of these municipalities. We'll have more on that. So we'll hopefully, and we'll speak on one city meeting that's going on today that could actually be something about that shortly. Monique, good morning, Sudbury. Smiley emoji. Evelyn also. So, what the announcement going to be about the 15-minute city in Sudbury? That's exactly what I was just talking about. There was a post for a meeting at City Hall. Is anybody videotaping this? So what's going to happen is, we'll have the times. So it's today between 1 and 3, I think, at Tom Davies Square. And then tomorrow at 5 or 6, they're going to live stream another meeting on Zoom. So you can, if you can't get down to City Hall today, you can get the Zoom meeting tomorrow. I'll have more on that right here, right now, if I can just call that up on our Facebook here, if it just allows me to click on it, which I'm not sure why. It's just, there we go. Just interesting things happening all the time, everywhere. There we go. Let's just get through there and let's get to the meeting. Let's click on it. So we got the details for everyone. So let's see here. The city of Greater Sudbury is undertaking, I'll just get that up on the screen here, is undertaking public consultation on a draft official plan amendment related to phase 2 of the nodes and corridors strategy. Nodes and corridors, right? So ways to get around the city. The proposed amendment includes changes that focus on high and medium density land uses, such as residential and mixed-use buildings, to the city's main arterial roads, so the main arteries of roads, and lower residential densities to nearby neighborhoods. It will ensure future investments, complemented transit and active transportation strategies, and help achieve compact, complete communities. It'll help achieve, see, you got to watch the lingo with these guys a lot of times too, right? So we're talking 15-minute cities, which is a lot of people thought was a conspiracy theory at some time. Sault Ste. Marie was made the country's first smart city. What does that even mean? Smart city. So you look into it. What does that mean? So these things are real. You look into Edmonton, which is really Alberta's kind of city that's going along with all of this stuff. Hook, line, and sinker. So anyways, help achieve compact, complete communities. So what does that word compact mean? So if you're looking at 15-minute cities, the idea is that everyone can get to where they want to get within 15 minutes. Hardly any driving, possibly walking, get to the pharmacy, the grocery store, the doctor's office, all the amenities that you need. So you won't even need to drive. So really, we'll look into the plan of the main government plan. If we would ever see their main unicorn plan, which we don't, what is your world? What is it going to look like, at the end of the day? Give us your, where do you want to be in 5 years? What does the world look like? And it would be hardly anyone driving any cars. So that's why they don't mind shutting down all of the fossil fuels and stuff. Because in their plan for the future, you ain't driving anything, not even an electric vehicle. So to get involved, residents are invited to fill out a questionnaire. So you can fill out a questionnaire. So you just go to our Sudbury News Facebook page. The link to the city's link is there, and you have the link to go fill out a questionnaire. You can attend the open house in person today, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Tom Davies Square. You know where that is. It's a big building downtown on the corner of Paris and Larch Street, or where the Kingsway turns into Brady Street there. It's right downtown, the biggest building. You just see the biggest building. You walk into it, ask where the building or where the room C13 is, and that's where the meeting will be at 1. Virtually, you can also attend the meeting tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. via Zoom, and the link is right there. So either way, in person today or Zoom tomorrow, you can be part of this meeting. I know a lot of people said a lot of people won't be allowed to ask questions and things like that. But you'll know for yourself if you do go, and you can let us know how it goes. I have to work, unfortunately. No countries around us get carbon tax. Imagine that. For sure. We do, though. Miles sent me something about the countries that do get carbon tax, or cap and trade, or a combination of cap and trade and carbon tax. that I'll have to look into. Denise says, yes, I'm sorry I was complaining Canada to the population of China that we pay carbon tax, but we also ship coal to China. I'm doing dishes. Sorry. Thanks, Denise. No problem. So also, yeah, that is true. Yeah, we also mentioned how China wants to be self-sufficient with coal. They don't want our coal anymore. They want to get their own coal and be self-sufficient, and they don't have any intentions of going green. That is just a ploy to dismantle the Western world that we now know and have a change in power structure. Those who have the power, whether it be coal, natural gas, oil, you name it, will be the ones with the might in order to be a world dominating force. They know that. They know by getting us off of the power that we have enjoyed and that we've built up, and that's why we are the power that we are for so many years, that it will diminish our power and they will then be powerful over us. It's really simple, actually. And then everything else that's given to us is just a bunch of lies to make us go along with it. Okay, that's my opinion. Thanks. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of Laurentian University or those of CKLU, whether they be employees or anyone related to CKLU or Laurentian University. They are that of mine alone, and any comment I read on the show are that of the commenters and not even of mine. There you go. Disclaimer. Marianne says, some people laugh and think it's a conspiracy. They won't be laughing soon. Brian Poulet says, half of Facebook problems can be solved by going over your Facebook settings. For example, if you have notification issues, try checking notification settings. You might be surprised what you find. Well, thanks, Brian. I'll have to maybe work with you to look into that. The idea, though, is Facebook is changing them, making people always have to go in and change them. Why are they changing them in the first place? You know what I mean? Like if I set them, I don't need them to be changed. So then I have to keep going in and change them back to something. But anyways, if that's the case, I will go in and change my notification settings. I appreciate that. Heads up. Marianne, people need to follow Maggie Braun, which I do. She opened the eyes of her city councillors and they canceled what was going on. Or at least they put it off. They're putting off what's going on in their town. Durham. I forget which her jurisdiction is called, but it's something like that. Right around Peterborough, the Peterborough area. Also, there was a deputation in Huntsville 2 days ago, and where another lady visited doing the same thing that Maggie is doing, speaking before councils and telling them what they've signed on to and what it means and that they can get out of it. So there is hope for the future. Marianne, yes, I check them every day because they change them. Oh, the notification settings. Okay. Interesting that they would do that. Like, what's up with that? I have no idea. I guess praying a lot and waving flags, we really saved ourselves, didn't we? No, this is the thing. There are people out there doing things like Maggie Braun. If you want to check her out, you can actually kind of work alongside her. She has a lot of materials and a lot of resources that you can use in your own communities as well. And I think that's the idea. So she's educating everyone on how they can affect change in their communities. And it's actually about doing things, not just about praying or hoping. Brian, I want to live in the mountains if the world continues in this downward spiral. I think a lot of people are on board with that as well. All these politicians are demented, Marianne says. It affects them and their families. They don't get a free pass. That's true. We're all going to have to live in the world we create in the future. Miles, it's commonly known that Alberta is very conservative. However, its municipal politicians in Calgary and Edmonton are mostly linked to the left with the NDP. That is true as well. Denise, never drive a car and never drive a skidoo or a snow machine. Never drive a quad. We did great. Cool. Jerome, good morning. Late to the show. No notification. Had to search you. Apparently, you got to go into your notification settings, Jerome, on Facebook, and they keep changing them. So I guess you have to change them, and I guess I might have to change them too for my channel. So my notifications can change how it tells you I'm on, and then you have to change your notifications to be told. So we both got some homework to do. Liette, it's not that people are doing anything. It's more that people are unaware and uninformed. That's right. If we are informed and aware, then it might drive us to want to do things or do things. I think I'm going to move to the bush, dig a hole, live in the ground, stay there. Denise, okay. That's the way it goes. Okay, I have done that Facebook settings, but not lately. Okay, Brian, we'll have to get on that. And here we go. Let's dive right into some local headlines here on the show. A couple things to talk about. Bus cancellations in some of the areas around Northern Ontario. So be sure to check into if your area has bus cancellations. And more than likely, it's too late. Anyways, if you got little ones, they would have already had to be on the bus by now, I'm sure. That's coming from cbc.ca. Thank you very much, CBC. Triple murder trial begins in Sudbury Superior Court. So it began on Monday, it looks like. Jury selection began on Monday for the trial of the last of 5 men charged in connection with a 2021 fatal fire on Bruce Avenue. Liam Stinson is facing 3 counts of being party to first-degree murder, 1 count each of party to the offense of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and party to an offense of arson, disregard for human life as well. The charges stem from a fire that broke out in a residence on Bruce Avenue in the early morning hours, April 11th, 2021. 4 individuals were inside the Bruce Avenue housing unit where the fire originated, which was determined to be deliberately set on Monday. Stinson pleaded not guilty to all charges. Okay, well, we'll keep our finger on the pulse of that story as it continues. There was a Sudbury man found guilty of human trafficking. A person under 18. A Sudbury man has been found guilty on 8 charges he faced, including trafficking of a person under 18. The decision in the case was delivered March 18th on Monday. Paul Cascongay was also charged with receiving a financial or other material benefit derived directly or indirectly from trafficking of a person, procuring material benefit from a sexual services, assault causing bodily harm, chokes, suffocates, or strangles, 2 counts of assault, indecent acts, possession of property obtained by crime under $5,000, breach of undertaking. Cascongay, through his defense attorney, Dennis Michel, told Justice Pierre Bradley that he wished to concede guilt on the charge of indecent acts. A video showing Cascongay exposing himself to public was offered as evidence at his last appearance, January 3rd. Bradley found Cascongay guilty of all other charges. Human trafficking apparently alive and well in the city of Sudbury. I've heard that it's really bad here. I've heard. We'll see. Also, a Southern Ontario woman was arrested for the Brebeuf Avenue shooting that happened just recently. An arrest has been made for the shooting on March the 10th on Brebeuf Avenue that left a man in critical condition. With the assistance of Toronto police, the 24-year-old woman was arrested in Southern Ontario on March the 14th, transported back to Sudbury. She is facing numerous firearms charges and drug offenses. It was just after 6 p.m. on March the 10th that officers were dispatched to a weapons complaint in the area of Brebeuf Avenue. When police arrived, they found an injured man with what they believed to be a gunshot wound on March 11th. Greater Sudbury Police Service released additional information on the incident. Police said officers had been dispatched to a residence on Davidson Street in the Uptown neighborhood at around 5:15 that Sunday for a weapons complaint, as well as a report that the person had been shot and needed medical attention. And then Sudbury home prices are up 15.5% year over year. Who would have known that we still have inflation? I can't believe it. It's true. It's still happening. It is what it is. And that's all from Sudbury.com on their Good Morning Stories to Start Your Day. Sudbury Star, they have their newsletter out each and every day. Sometimes it goes into my junk mail. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, today it didn't. And their picture of the day is the municipal speed camera sign. Says, coming soon, surveillance from speed cameras. And, my wife made a good point the other day. She's like, they put these signs up to tell people that they're coming in these areas. People don't notice them. And there's a reason, because it's just a sign that looks like any other sign up. We should do an experiment where we put a sign that's like, call this certain number as soon as you see this sign to report you've seen it or something, just to do an experiment. Because it just looks like any other sign. So we become kind of unaware of signs because there's so many of them on the sides of the road on poles that a lot of people don't even notice them, right? And they look pretty much like any other sign. But anyways, that's just a point my wife said the other day, which I agreed with. A speed camera has been placed on Algonquin Avenue between Maurice and Field Streets in Sudbury. The greater city of Sudbury is launching the first 6 automated speed enforcement or ACE cameras on March the 22nd, which is this Friday. The other locations include Bellevue Avenue between Picard Street and Ralph Street, Falconbridge Road between Donnelly Drive and Church Street, Main Street and Valcarron between Justin Street and MR80, just as it goes into the 2-lane before Blessed Valley. Hillcrest Drive between Bryan Street and Miquelot Road. And Gary Avenue between LaSalle Boulevard and Madison Avenue. So there's a picture there of the sign in case you haven't noticed the sign. Picture of it there so you can look for that sign and see if you are in any of those areas. You don't know what time they are launching it on Friday, but it will automatically be on Friday at some point. Maybe you're trying to get to the Wolves game for the last home game of the season, and you're behind and you're trying to get there, and you didn't realize that you're in one of these areas. Well, you'll be given a ticket automatically. It'll be sent to you in the mail, and there you go. Great way to build community is what Nick, who's on the show quite a bit, said, right? It's a good community building initiative by the greater city of Sudbury to bring us together as citizens, to boost the morale. Let's say boost the morale of everyone here. Is 6 locations. It'll be there for a few months, and then they'll change the locations of the signs of the cameras. Not sure the cost, what it costs to move these cameras around, all of the hardware that's there. Apparently it's in the millions, but they're expecting to make millions of dollars back, right? So at least if it breaks even, it will help people drive slower. We're not convinced it's going to help in any safety way because there's no way to gauge it. It's not like we're beginning with safety data because that's not important. We're not beginning with how many accidents are caused on these roadways in any given months or years. The same months that we're going to be doing this experiment, let's say it's starting March 22nd, 2024, and it's going to run for 6 months. So whatever that ends up being, it's not like we're looking at data from the year before from March to that same month and then comparing it. No. We're just saying it's safer because obviously speed kills. So we're just going to do this and say that it was a success because there's no data to show it's a success. Like if there were 5 accidents the last year in these areas, this year there were 3, we can say, oh, it was a success because we had 3 less accidents. 3 fatalities on the side roads of people trying to avoid these cameras though, right? So 3 fatalities on side streets, people trying to drive quickly on side roads which weren't meant to drive quickly, where there's no cameras, trying to get to work or get to wherever you're going. And so we had 2 less accidents, but we had 3 fatalities on side streets. So who's gauging this? Who's looking at the data? Like, what data are we looking at? We're not even beginning with any data. So what data are we going to look at to see if it's a success or not? I'm sure it's just going to be the same group of people, like the people that patted themselves on the back for the search for Michael Vagnini. Great job. Look how good we did. He went missing on one street and we looked for him for 2 weeks and 2 days and couldn't find him, but he was 2 streets over in an abandoned lot in a driveway we had drones and helicopters and everything. We did a good job. He was found. Yeah. Pat themselves on the back. That's a great job, everybody. I never heard, wow, we really dropped the ball on this. We really should have did a better job. I mean, he was 2 streets over. We really should have found him. And he wasn't driving around because we pinged his truck and it wasn't being used. So magically, if he wasn't there before, he just kind of floated there into the driveway and he was found. I don't know. No one knows the answers. No one's ever going to know the answers because this city doesn't release information. The police don't because other cities do, but we don't. That's a known fact. Sudbury.com at least, trying to find out why that is. But the Greater City of Sudbury Police Board Chair, Al Sizer, says, you know enough information already. We don't need to tell you anything. We give you what we give you and we do a great job and that's it. We do a great job. That's all we're telling you. We don't need to tell you anything. Even though our crime rates are double what other cities are of a similar population, Barrie, Guelph, their police basically tell us a lot more than what our own police tell us. So this seems to be a culture in our city. Let's say every city has a culture. We've had a few black eyes over the last little bit, and the only university that's ever gone bankrupt in Canada, we've had that. There's that. That's just one thing. You add Michael Vagnini to that. You add these speed cameras to that. You just keep adding. I mean, what are we at in the city? what's the culture here? What are we trying to achieve? What's the reasons why someone would want to live in a city like this? Like, how do we go about doing things? What are the results of the way we do things here? You know what I'm saying? Just reminds me of the emperor with no clothes, if you're familiar with that parable kind of thing. All right, let's move on to more emperors with more no clothes. The carbon tax is coming out, whether you like it or not. April the 1st, April Fools. Joke's on you. MPs are getting a $10,000 raise and you're getting a 23% hike on your tax, on your carbon tax. What's up with that? We're trying to make sense of it here on the show. Here's Michelle Ferrari. She's MP for Kawartha in the same area as Maggie Braun. So I think things are rolling there. She kind of sums it up really well here. Just have a little listen.
We have a very important Opposition Day motion put forward by the member from Carleton, the official leader.
Let's try that again. Let's see.
We have a very important Opposition Day motion put forward by the
Okay. Well, what do you know?
Member from Carleton, the official leader of the opposition, Canada's next Prime Minister, and it is to protect and...
Yeah, right. Okay, so we're not going to have that video right now. That's interesting. Thanks, Facebook. Appreciate it. We'll have this one. See if YouTube is better.
Oh boy, I can't wait for Minister Guilbeault to tell me why it's good for government to take money out of my pocket with the carbon tax, only to give a little bit of it back at the end of the year. Let's hear what he said.
We're here to talk about the Canada carbon rebate, which is one thing you'll never hear Pierre Poilievre talk about. But the reality is that over the past few years, in fact, since 2019, 8 out of 10 Canadians, low-income to middle-income Canadians, get more money back than they're paying for carbon pricing. That is a reality. That is a fact. And as carbon pricing goes up, so does the carbon rebate.
Carbon pricing is a euphemism meant to disguise the fact that it's a tax and makes us poorer.
Rebate will go up April 1st, as will carbon pricing as well. Pierre Poilievre was lying last week when he said that there's no price on pollution for large polluters. That's simply not true. In fact, the price on pollution is much higher for our biggest polluters than it is for average Canadian, as it should be, and that continues to go up. And they don't get a rebate because they should be paying as large emitter, as large polluters. And the other thing you'll never hear Pierre Poilievre talk about is the impacts of climate change and how much it's impacting Canadians, how much it's costing Canadians. We're talking about our fish stocks disappearing. There's no shrimp in the Gulf of St. Lawrence this summer. We're talking about the province of Alberta having to ration water for residents, for businesses, for the agricultural sector. Climate change is real, it's impacting Canadians, and it's costing Canadians, and you'll never hear Pierre Poilievre talk about that.
Talk about Montreal dumping 2 billion liters of sewage into the St. Lawrence River. So we're going to completely here dismantle Stephen Guilbeault's garbage about the carbon tax and about carbon rebates. So the way the carbon tax works is there is a set amount of tax that is applied to, obviously, carbon goods in the economy that all of us have to pay. The most explicit example is gasoline. On April 1st, the carbon tax is increasing federally to 17 cents per liter. So for every liter of gasoline that you or I buy, we are going to pay 17 cents in carbon tax. Now, that also applies to things like coal and gas and so on, natural gas and so on. Now, we pay that tax throughout the year. Obviously, the more carbon that an individual uses, the more gasoline he burns, for example, the more he's going to pay in carbon tax. We don't hear that a lot from the Liberal government. What instead we hear about is this fantastic carbon rebate. Everyone's getting a carbon rebate in Alberta, $1,800 for a family of 4. Carbon rebate, carbon rebate, carbon rebate. They make it sound like this is a policy where they can take money from us and then give more of it back. It's nonsense. It's total nonsense. Here's the problem with it. First of all, gasoline and gas in general, oil and gas, is what's called an inelastic good. That means we use pretty much the same amount of it, whether, for example, gasoline is $1 per liter or $1.25 per liter. We need it to go to school. We need it to go to work. We need it to take vacations. We need it to heat our homes, especially when it's minus 40 outside. So even if the price of gas rises, even if the price of oil rises, even if taxes increase on those goods and services, we still have to use gasoline. We still have to use oil and gas. Thus, even though Guilbeault talks about incentivizing Canadians away from carbon consumption, we can't just wean ourselves off of it immediately. No, of course not. We need it, and we need it desperately. So then he introduces his rebate. And he says, well, you pay tax every year on carbon, but you also get a rebate, and so you're actually better off. Now, again, the problem with that is that it balances out the carbon tax. At least that's what the official position of government is. I'm not convinced of that argument at all. I talked to many people. All of them are saying they pay much more in carbon tax than they get from their generous rebate from government. At any rate, that rebate, when all is said and done, supposing government's numbers are true, which again I don't, balances out how much tax an individual pays. Therefore, why would they stop using carbon? Someone might say, well, if they stop using carbon, their rebate is still the same, and so they're actually $600 or $800 richer than they would be last year. But the cost imposed on switching away from carbon, electric vehicles, solar panels, wind, etc., imposes a cost far higher than the supposed benefits of the rebate. Take a gasoline vehicle, for example. We can drive hundreds of kilometers, go to a gas station, fill up literally in 2 minutes, and drive hundreds of kilometers more. It's a miracle. The gasoline engine is a miracle. It's efficient, and it works well, and it's relatively cheap. Now, compared to an electric car, which travels how many miles and then has to fill up at a charging station, not for a minute, not for 2 minutes, but for much longer than that, costs are imposed through time, for example.
Had this conversation with a co-worker yesterday as well, and everyone's from different political backgrounds or whatever, but everyone agrees on the idea. In Canada, the battery operated vehicle doesn't work as good either, because you only get 50% of your battery power that you would get if it was a warmer climate. The cold climate doesn't like batteries. If you don't have a garage to put your electric vehicle in where it's, it's warmed, it's heated and whatever, and then you got to install a special panel in your house in order to charge your car from home. And if you're on a trip and there's not enough charging stations around, it's really inconvenient. And then at the end of the day, the coworker said to me, which is correct, so they're saying that electricity is cheaper, even if we did have the grid power, which we don't. They're telling us now to keep your air conditioners off and things in major centers like Toronto in the summer so the grid doesn't go down. Well, how are they expecting everyone's cars to get charged up too, right? Well, they're not expecting that. They don't expect everyone to have cars. They don't want everyone to have cars. They don't want you to drive. They don't want you to have freedom to just go anywhere you want. And that's possibly, I want everyone today at the meeting to just basically ask the one question: how is what we're discussing today different from, let's say, the idea of a 15-minute city? Conspiracy or not, are we talking about being able to get to where we need to go within 15 minutes? Does the math at least still work out, even if you don't call it a 15-minute city? Like, let's just say, is the idea similar? Like, do we all want to at least get around within a 15-minute walking distance from, or driving a bike or something, of this nature? Just ask, how is this different than the idea of a 15-minute city or 15-minute community of that? Because they were talking about, this different wording. So they're not using the same wording. But anyways, and then if you're also asking questions, if you're not able to go 1 to 3 today for that meeting at Tom Davies Square, maybe tomorrow at 6 on the Zoom meeting, we can ask the same questions, right? Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. It's been a great show. We don't have any time left. CKLU Pledge Week is going on. We need to raise some money to keep the airwaves open and to keep our campus and community radio station going. And we appreciate all of you who are able to help us do that. And Earshot Daily's coming up, things like that. So I got to go to work. You guys got the rest of the day to go to, things like that. So thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you same time, same place, God willing. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.